good saint,
Yes.
good spirit. You pray for Brother Elias now as he comes around the brain.
Bless him, Lord.
Bless your heart too. Amen. You pray for him.
Tonight we'll be in the book of Proverbs. And kind of relate to something Brother Barry said yesterday. He says you know what to preach because you just can't get it off your heart. This one verse has been sticking with me for a couple weeks now. 'Cause I heard somebody talking about this one verse and it just hasn't left me. I'll be in Proverbs chapter 13. When Zach asked me to preach, I went home and studied this verse and go study the chapters around it, see if there was any context to this, and ended up reading most of the book of Proverbs in one night. And the message really didn't hit me till Friday night. It's like I knew the verses, I knew the general idea, but it's just like Friday night, God just reached down, smacked me upside the head, and it was there. Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 12 says, "Hope deferred maketh the heart sick, but when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life." Now, I'm going to help break this verse down for you. That first part, hope deferred maketh the heart sick.
Bless you.
That hope deferred is when we don't get our way. That's when we're hoping for something that doesn't come.
That's right.
Now, we've all had those situations where we didn't get our way.
Right.
I mean, that's just life. You don't always get your way. And we get a little angry in those situations. I mean, we think it should be one way, and it's not. And this verse tells us when we don't get our way, it makes the heart sick. Now, I wrote down some symptoms of a sick heart.
Bless you, Lord.
The first one is bitterness. You know, we often talk a lot about what makes people bitter, what makes people get angry with other people, but we don't talk about what it affects in the long run. I mean, bitterness isn't just a one and done thing. It carries on.
Amen.
Yes, sir. Bless him, Lord.
Think of the life of Job. With all he had to go through, I mean, he lost everything. With all he had to go through, if anyone had a right to be bitter, it was him. I mean, and he said it himself. In Job chapter 10, verse 1, he says, "My soul is weary of my life. I will leave my complaint upon myself. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul." He was bitter. I mean, as one would be when you've had everything taken away from you. When life didn't go your way, you probably got a little bit bitter. Now, you look later in the book of Job, in chapter 21, it says, in verse 23, "One dieth in his full strength, being wholly at ease and quiet." And fairly simple. He's talking about two different people here. This first person died in his full strength. He died a peaceful death. He was happy. He died fully strengthened. But look at verse 25. It says, "And another dieth in the bitterness of his soul, and never eateth with pleasures." See, the first man, he was full strength. He was happy with life. He was happy the way things went. The second man got bitter in his soul. He got bitter in his life.
Bless you.
And he lost his joy
Yeah.
to bitterness. You know, that's something a sick heart will do, is it'll cause bitterness to take your joy.
Come on.
And when bitterness takes your joy, you can take the joy of others pretty easily.
That's right. Yes, amen. Yes, sir.
You know, the second symptom of a sick heart that I wrote down is lust. We get a sick heart and we start looking at what other people have.
Right.
And we start wanting a better life, that better life that we didn't get, and we didn't want. I mean, look at the life of David. I mean, he was a man after God's own heart, but he fell into lust. And if he can do it, I'm pretty sure I can too. I'm pretty sure we all can. And lust isn't just hurting one person. It hurts a lot of people. I mean, in the story of David, it got people killed. off of one man's lust.
Blessing. Yes.
And with lust comes many other sins. David killed somebody. It often leads to lying, to covetousness. It often leads to envy. And then, last symptom of a sick heart that I found is one we often don't think of in church. I mean, it's not, the word depression is not in the Bible anywhere. So we don't often think of the word depression as a serious issue for church folks.
Yeah.
But depression is something that affects 25 million Americans every year. Realize over 50% of suicides have something to do with depression. I mean, that's had an effect in my own life. I'm only 17 years old, and I've lost friends to that.
Yes.
I mean, realize that more people suffer from depression than heart disease and cancer and HIV. And depression is a big issue that causes really good people to fall into some low times. If you don't think it has anything to do with church life, look at some of these Bible characters. Look at David. When David lost his sons in 2 Samuel, he fell into a depressed time. If you read some of the book of Psalms, you'll realize David wasn't always a happy man.
That's right.
David fell into some hard times.
Yes, sir.
Look at Elijah, one of the greatest prophets in the Bible. When he was in the cave, he just wanted to give up right then and there.
Yeah.
He fell into some hard times in the cave. Look at the book of Job. When he suffered all that devastation, all that loss, he even wrote in Job chapter 3, verse 26, it says, I was not in safety, neither had I rest, neither was I quiet, yet trouble came. See, Job fell into some hard times. Trouble came into Job's life, and he wasn't always happy through it all.
No.
He fell into some hard times. Look at Jeremiah. Jeremiah suffered from loneliness and defeat. In Jeremiah chapter 20, verse 14, it says, Cursed be the day wherein I was born. He cursed the day he was born. He didn't even want to be born anymore. Like, he didn't want to even exist anymore. It's that same chapter, verse 18, it says, Wherefore, meaning why, came I out of the womb to see labor and sorrow, that my days should be filled with shame. Jeremiah was a depressed man, and he was a preacher. I mean, he's got his own book in the Bible, and he fell to this. Now, if you look at the rest of that verse in Proverbs chapter 13, and then, I promise it won't be wrong. I promise it won't be very long at all tonight. Starts out, hope deferred maketh the heart sick. That leads to bitterness, lust, depression. It leads to a hard life when the heart gets sick.
Yeah.
But when you read the rest of the verse, but when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life. You know, I couldn't quite figure out the cure to a sick heart. I knew there had to be some way to help a sick heart, and I couldn't quite figure it out until Friday night. See, the words tree of life appear 10 times throughout the Bible. 3 times in the book of Genesis, 3 times in the book of Revelations, and 4 times in the book of Proverbs. The tree of life in Genesis and Revelations, that's Adam and Eve's tree of life. That's far out of our reach. We can't get to that anymore. But throughout the book of Proverbs, and this is why I read most of the book of Proverbs while I was studying this, there's a lot of things of life. The book of Proverbs mentions a tree of life, a fountain of life, a well of life, and a way of life. And all of these are connected to one person throughout the Bible. And that's Jesus.
Amen.
You know, and Jesus said in John 14:6, he said, I am the way.
That's right.
You know, there's not much clearer you can get than I am the way. You know, it says in Psalms 36:9, for with thee is the fountain of life. Jesus said, lo, I will be with you always. You know, it can't get any more clear than that. I mean, in Proverbs 15:24, it says, the way of life is above to the wise. Last time I checked, Jesus ascended into heaven. That's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus is the cure to a sick heart. Yeah. when we get bitter in our ways, when we get bitter in our life, Jesus is that cure. You know, he can remove the lust that's getting you down and causing you to sin. He can remove the bitterness that's stealing your joy. You know, Jesus is the well of life. I mean, if you look at the Samaritan woman he met at the well, he told that woman everything about her life. Never even knew her. Told that woman everything about her life. He's the well that will get you to go tell people about him. You know, he is the way of life. If you look at that rich man that wanted to know how he can have eternal life, he had everything he could ever need. He wanted to know the way to eternal life. And Jesus told him, take up your cross and follow me. And he went away sad. See, he didn't realize that Jesus was the way to eternal life. He was the way to what he wanted in his life. You know, Jesus is the fountain of our joy. I mean, I really don't see too many people getting excited in the church house about anyone other than Jesus.
Right.
And I was talking to one of my friends this summer, and this topic got brought up. The way to this cure, the prescription, you could say, to this cure is not religion. The word church will get you nowhere in healing a sick heart. It will get you nowhere in restoring your joy.
That's right.
This, like the word Baptist, the word Methodist, none of that will get you anywhere with this. The only way to truly get this cure to a sick heart is to have a relationship with God.
Amen.
The religion won't help you, but the relationship is the way.
That's right.
Look at Zacchaeus. In the Bible, he was the man that climbed a sycamore tree just to even look at Jesus, just to see him pass by. When Jesus wanted to go dine with him, Zacchaeus found a relationship with God. Zacchaeus got a healing that night because he had a relationship with Jesus. But you had everyone else sitting there watching him saying, what is this Jesus doing going to eat with a sinner? They were all wanting the religion Jesus brought. They didn't get a healing. Zacchaeus just wanted a relationship with Jesus. Zacchaeus got a healing. Going back to the rich man, he wanted to know the way to heaven. He wanted to know the way to eternal life. But he refused to have a relationship with the way. He wanted just a religious answer. He had maintained all the commandments from his youth. He was a very religious man. But he didn't want to have a relationship with God. And this relationship will get you places. It's not necessarily that religion's bad. It's just that religion isn't going to get you anywhere. If you come into church every Sunday and you sit there on your pew, you stand up when Glenn says as we stand, and you sit back down when the song's over, you're not going to get very far. But it's when you get the relationship where you can just talk to God out of nowhere. When you don't need an altar to pray, when you can get in touch with God going down to work in the mornings.
Yeah.
In Psalms chapter 3, this is a psalm of David, that man that was depressed a little while ago. This is what he wrote. It says, Lord, how they are increased that trouble me. Many are they that rise up against me. That's that sick heart. That's David struggling with a sick heart. He's got many things around him that are troubling him, that won't let him live joyfully. But verse 2 he says, many there be which say of my soul, there is no help for him in God, save I. See, other people said there was no help for him. But that word Selah means look here. Look at this next verse. But thou, O Lord, art a shield for me, my glory and a lifter up of mine head.
Yes.
Right there, David's saying, that's my cure. That's where my help comes from. And I told you I wouldn't be very long tonight. Glenn, you want to go ahead and get us on? I want to close with a couple questions for you. Where are you at with your relationship with God? Do you have a relationship with God? Or do you just show up to church? You know, I noticed something this weekend. A lot of people come to church. Some people will take notes on what Frankie's preaching on, but they want to apply it to their lives. When was the last time you took something home and applied it to your life? When was the last time you got your relationship in check with God and you actually sat down and had a conversation with Jesus? When was the last time you applied what Frankie was teaching? When was the last time you checked on your sick heart?
Yes.
Frankie, that's all I got.
Hey, you come on out front, Elijah, while we stand. I want to say this before they sing. I am so proud of the men I get to serve here at this church. To see where he started and see where he's at tonight.
Yes, sir.
See, he told us about a sick heart. See, I like it because he told us how it could be cured.
Amen. Leave you in the dark.
See, you come on out here, boy, I know you might not know what I'm talking about, but to be the pastor and see our young men start off their ministry, and then to see them dig in the Word,
Yes.
and not just read the Word, but to find it and to try to find the understanding of the Word.
Yes.
That's what it's about.
Yes, it is.
Not to be a hearer only, but to be a doer. Now, I'm not going to put one above another. But I have been blessed to be around a bunch of good men. I thank God for the men, these young men that he has sent our way. Thrilled to death for what I heard tonight. See, older folks or old folks like me, who knows when the Lord's going to call us home.
Right.
But boy, I'm so proud that I can leave tonight knowing that it's in capable hands.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you, it makes me sleep better at night knowing everything don't depend on me.
Yes, sir.
But it depends on Him. I love you tonight, son. Sing us a verse. I'm going to tell you something. If you appreciate, or you got a sick heart, or you appreciate this young man, won't you come tell him? Won't you come shake his hand and thank you for the words that he gave you tonight? If he gave you something, that'll help you. I'm hurt. But how many of you have ever went to the doctor, got a prescription, and set it on it? My wife's looking at me right now. And set it on the counter, and Granny walked out every morning and not take it.
Love you, morning.
And wonder why I don't feel no better.
Yeah.
Well, the doctor's in the house tonight.
Yeah.
He brought a prescription for a sick heart. A bitter one, a lustful one, and he's giving you a prescription. And the Holy Ghost is waving the pill right down here. While we sing, go ahead, brother.
Are you looking for a place to worship God in spirit and in truth? Hello, I'm Frankie Green, pastor of Trinity Baptist Church in Auburn, Georgia. We would like to invite you to be in our service with us. Sunday school starts at 10 with morning worship at 11. Sunday evening worship begins at 6 and Wednesday night prayer service at 7. We are a King James Bible-believing, fundamental, independent Baptist church reaching out to those who need a special touch from God. For more information, you can visit us at TrinityBaptistAuburn.com or on Facebook at Trinity Baptist Church Auburn. We welcome you to Trinity Baptist Church, where you will become part of a family.